I did. I'm proud to say I managed to manage my eating here. I was more mindful this year, and must be all the work that I'm doing with you all out there. So anyway, this is our weekly show. As you know, if you've tuned in before, for anybody who has a fear of flying or knows somebody who has a fear of flying, or just wants to talk airplanes with us. And our goal is to help you change the way you think about flying, because once you do that, your life is different. With me tonight, of course, is my trusted first officer and all around great wingman and chief technical officer, Dieter Staudinger, coming to you from Phoenix. He's right in the other room here in my house, because we have spent the major part of today, Dieter came in about midday, we've been working on our technology and my studio, as it were, here. And you can't tell, but we've realigned a little bit in preparation for this, for the online class this Saturday, or I'm sorry, this Sunday. And so for any of you out there, if you haven't got the link for some reason, take a look. Dieter will put it in the show notes here tonight. And we'd sure love to have you. It's going to be a really information-packed experience. We're going to talk about the three biggies: takeoff, turbulence, and landing, and then your questions. So keep those questions coming in. We've had a number of people register so far and provide us with some questions. This is for you, and particularly anybody who's, especially if you're coming up and flying over the holidays here. So we thought this would be our last goodwill gesture to try to do a class to help people out there. And that is kind of a theme for the messages that I've been getting in the last couple of weeks. Of course, many more people are flying, this being the holidays, and we are, oh, look, there's well, let me just talk about that a little bit more, the online masterclass, and then I'll go back to what I was digressing to. This is the online masterclass coming in this weekend, 10 o'clock on the coast, the Pacific, and 1 o'clock in the East. And we're planning for an hour. And like I said, your questions, you can go to flf.link/OMC online masterclass to register. $32, one for every dollar, every year that I've been doing this. So we've been beefing up our technology, so we made this a paid event. Hopefully we kept the cost down so that it would be reasonable for you. And by the way, if you join us and for some reason you got to leave early, or some reason you end up not being able to make it, don't worry. We're going to have a replay that we're going to post for a few days afterwards, so you don't so you can do that. So don't let that stop you. And there's some bonuses that go along with that. Dieter, you want to touch on those bonuses for people?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, I just want to say that, yeah, we've been working really, really hard, because, you know, many of you that are watching our live show every week, or, you know, maybe just happen to stumble upon it, you know, don't have the opportunity to come either to Phoenix or to Los Angeles for our in-person, you know, classes. And so, you know, part of what we wanted to create was an interactive online class where, yeah, you got, you know, to be, you know, in the comfort of your own home or wherever you may be. But
yeah, come in your jammies. We don't care. Yeah, we want to make this easy. And we've been talking about this for years. I have, in particular. Dieter's helped me make it a reality. And particularly in the last 6 months, we've been promising to do something online. And this is a precursor of what's to come. So if you're nothing other than curious, if you don't have a flight coming up, join us anyway. But if you're just plain curious, come and spend some time with us and see what the future is going to hold. So
and the really big thing is that this is not just, you know, like here our weekly live show. It's not as interactive. So we really did a lot of things to allow for that interactivity, that back and forth between you, you know, and your most burning questions, and the content that you know, Captain Ron is teaching in the advanced classes. So we really are excited. We're hoping that you consider, you know, December 8th. And by the way, if you happen to be busy, on December 8th. We're going to be 10 o'clock Pacific time, 11 Mountain time, and 1 o'clock in the afternoon Eastern time. And if you happen to be busy, then we do have a replay available as well for you. So if you already know, oh man, I wish I could do it, but I can't participate, well, you might want to consider registering anyways, sending us your most burning questions, and then we will get to your questions during the class and weave them into the content of the class. So Ron, what are we gonna talk about?
Turbulence, the big three: turbulence, takeoff and landing, or takeoff and then landing. And we're going to talk about the multi dimensions of turbulence. You've all heard me mention that the fact that turbulence is basically molecules of air running into each other, but the way that happens varies depending on whether you're talking about clear air turbulence, whether you're talking about wake turbulence, whether you're talking about mechanical turbulence, whether you're talking about turbulence on landing. So we're going to talk a little bit more in detail about that, give you some more insight so that you can, number one, get your confidence up about flying and the mechanics of it, and two, to get your confidence up to know a little bit more so that you won't have to worry about losing control. Fear flying is a control thing, and that's been the theme that I started talking about just a little bit ago. A lot of the questions coming in this week, people texting me, people emailing me, have been in some general areas. One is, hey Ron, I haven't flown for a while. I'm feeling a little bit nervous. Is that normal? Am I ever going to get over this? The answer is yes, you can, and but it is normal. It's and I hesitate to use the word normal, but because all of your individual fears have a unique aspect to them. But in general, it's like learning a skill, any skill. If you want to be a better golfer, you've got to practice that. If you want to be a better tennis player, you got to practice that. And if you go for an extended period of time between events, either matches or tournaments or anything like that, your skills are going to get rusty. Same thing for flying. And unfortunately, it takes money to fly and a reason to fly. So some of you who don't have the benefit of doing it for business and having your employer pay for it, it's a little bit more haphazard. But if you promise and you commit to stay with us over time and show up every week and keep it fresh in your mind, you can get better at it. And that mainly goes out to Butch up in Bullhead City, who asked me that question. So thanks for that. I had another question just earlier today. A friend of mine is going to fly to San Diego. And she said, oh my gosh, I think I'm on one of those Maxes. And I said, no, you're not yet. Believe me, when the Maxes go back into the air, it'll be bigger than the impeachment. Yep, bigger than the impeachment. I guarantee you. It may only last in the media for a day, but it'll make big news. There are some rumblings out there. There's some union activities. Dieter was just sharing with me an article earlier this evening about some crew members met and are talking that over. But when it goes back into the air for recertification, I guarantee you'll know it, and you'll hear it here because we'll talk about it in detail.
As a matter of fact, there was actually today it was a closed event at the Boeing facility in Washington State, and they gave an update, and there wasn't a lot of information that we hadn't covered already, so there was really no point in dragging that back in again. But most certainly, when we're looking at Southwest and American, like the two largest carriers in the U.S., and both of them have basically not even scheduled the Maxes to be back in service until February or March of 2020. Yeah. So, because not only does those fixes do they have to be approved, but then also the pilots have to be trained, and so that will take some time as well.
Yeah, and actually the training is in progress at some of the airlines already there. So anyway,
actually they're coming to Canada. They're coming to Canada.
Yeah,
the Max 8 are flying in Canada to keep the pilots current on
Current,
on
yeah.
on the aircraft. So
Yeah, little piece of
no
trivia.
passengers,
You
no
know that
passengers.
as a pilot, I've got to make 3 takeoffs and landings every 90 days. Otherwise, I lose my currency. And there's only 2 ways I can get my currency back. One, I have to actually get in an airplane and go make 3 takeoffs and landings without passengers in it. And that's very expensive, as you can imagine. The other way is in the simulators. But either way, it takes a commitment for sim time. So some of the airlines are doing that and to keep the pilots current along the way. So it's not that the Maxes aren't flying. It's just that they're not flying with passengers right now. So again, stay tuned and stay with us, and you'll be one of the first to know, and we'll discuss it in detail.
There is one little bit of news that is not exact. I mean, we don't really know much, and one of our viewers, Jim Duke, hey Jim, he forwarded us an article, and it's so funny because before I actually flew down here to Phoenix, I was just waiting, and I saw that article as well. And what happened was there was an aircraft. I don't remember which airline, but an aircraft flying, I think to London Heathrow, and somehow it lost. Do you remember what it lost, Ron?
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about?
Yeah. That was a great article that Jim said. They lost one of the life vest or life rafts that they stole. Actually, there's an external access to this on the big airplanes, on wide body airplanes. I think this was a 787, I believe, is one of the international airplanes, and it's outside of Boston Logan. It was coming into Boston Logan, and this neighborhood has had some bad luck with airplanes, and it's probably one of the airports that are places where there's been a lot of encroachment by the airport. And so you've got, on final approach, you got the airplanes coming in fairly low, and this thing weighed, I don't know, probably weighs a couple hundred pounds, and it fell off of the airplane. Somehow you can bet that there'll be follow-up on that, and there'll be an FAA study or investigation to see what happened. But apparently, whatever the latches failed, or they weren't properly secured or something like that. But anyways, it was on landing, and it came down. And just imagine you're talking to your neighbor or something out there, and all of a sudden you hear this crash behind you, and you look around and you realize that if it had hit you, it probably wouldn't have been a good thing. And another anecdote they put in here, this was a place back in 2010 that there was a stowaway on an airplane that came in, and probably he died of freezing along the way. And when they put the landing gear down, then the body was dropped down there. So probably has taking a toll on property values there in that airport, or in that vicinity.
And I believe the gentleman whose backyard that thing dropped was actually out in the yard doing garden work or whatever he was doing.
Yeah. So it was a crazy thing. So anyway, all right, let's kind of wind this up with I want to just give you some quick pointers about how to get over your fear of flying. One, it's all about confidence, and you've got to get your confidence up both in 2 areas. One, you got to know that have confidence that flying is safe, and 2, that you're going to be safe in that you're not going to have a breakdown. So if you can't have confidence that the airplane's going to operate okay, the pilots are going to be okay, the crew's going to be okay, the weather's going to be okay, and things like that, it's going to be a touch and go situation, pun intended, for you to get on an airplane. And second, even more important, if you don't have the confidence that you're going to be okay, you're going to be airworthy. In other words, you'll be able to manage your anxiety so that you won't lose control on the airplane, or you won't have to fear losing control. You're going to be okay flying. So those are the 2 things. And the way we do it is the Fearless Flight method. We educate you. You got to learn more. You've got to change the amount of information you've got up here, and you got to ask questions. And sometimes you don't even know the questions asked. The hardest thing about life to me is things that you don't know, and we're here to help you do that. Mm-hmm. Second thing is you've got to learn how to disrupt your thinking and distract your thinking. The quickest way onto an airplane is to have some way to manage your attention so that you can put it where you want it to go, rather than have it hijacked by your amygdala, or that your fight or flight response. And the last thing is social collaboration, and that's what the big thing we offer here, in general, is to come and connect with other people so that you realize that you're not alone, and you can get a lot of support. If you haven't joined the Fearless Flight Birds of a Feather Facebook group, please do that. It's getting more and more people every week. It's become very active. We got people helping each other out there. Dieter and I and others.
Elaine and Sue and
Suzanne, everybody,
lots
we're in on that
yeah.
thing. So keep doing that. We've had a lot of interaction. Congratulations to Amy. She made her trip last week with her family to Washington, D.C. for a very special engagement for her 11-year-old son, I think it was. And anyway, so join that Fearless Flight group, come back to the meetings every week, and like I said, stay connected to us by all means. So,
and all those three pillars that you mentioned, the psychology of fear flying, how airplanes fly and why flying is safe, and the social collaboration, all of these three aspects are, we're gonna really dive into in a lot of depth, which we never have the luxury on these shows, but that's what we're going to dive into on December 8th, this coming Sunday. And it's really important to note that, this class is really based on you, the viewer, and all the requests that we have gotten over, the last couple of years. And we really try to distill it in something. We know that the holiday season is the busiest travel season. So we really wanted to give you something, not just to participate, but then also to walk away with the confidence that that flying and airplanes are safe, and also that you can manage yourself. You can manage your emotions, you can manage your feelings, as well as your thoughts, your mental dialogue. And we're going to give you strategies and tools to do just that. And, if you are anywhere near an internet connected device on December 8th, we would love to have you live, and just look at the information on the screen, and we'd love to have you.
For all you people that said, I wish I could go to your classes, this is your chance. We're bringing the class to you. So keep that in mind, and come in and join us. Just a quick note for anybody, we've sent out a notice to anybody who's been in our 101 classes here in the past in Phoenix. And if you happen to have that time available, we're looking for a few good people, kind of like the Marines. We need a few people, to have a little bit of a live studio audience here to help me get enlivened, so I don't feel like I'm just talking to the camera out there. And so if you are interested, send us an email to Captain Ron, CAPTRON @fearlessflight.com, and put what in the subject line, Dieter?
Studio audience. And
studio audience.
Only okay. 5 spots. Only 5 spots remaining. So
okay, 5 spots remaining, and we don't want to discriminate against coaches, but we do want to restrict this to just students so that we can get more people directly to talk to about this. So okay, so remember, if you haven't seen the email, we'll leave the link in the notes there. Tell anybody that that is interested, and they want to get started on their thing here. If you're out there and you don't know what to do or where to start, go ahead and sign up for a free 15-minute online coaching session with me. I got a few more slots available in this week. And then of course I got some next week there. So we want to again remind you to show up this Saturday or this Sunday. And for anybody in the Phoenix area, we do have our last Clear for Takeoff 101 class, live class at the airport this Saturday night. We're going to do stuff around the book. And by the way, we had a great review. If you haven't bought the book yet, go over to Amazon.com, look for How to Overcome Fear of Flying by yours truly, Captain Ron here, and take a look at the reviews. We just had a great review by Maggie this week, and it was just really, really powerful. So our goal was to do a how-to book, not to bore you with all the stuff that I love about aviation, but to tell you facts and things that you need to know to overcome it and how to. So anyway, take a look at the reviews, and that's about it for this week.
Yeah.
We want to
Oh,
thank you.
I just want to I just want to mention Susan Miglagio. Hi, Susan. She said, Ron, you talk so fast.
I know. Yes. It's
So
because
gets excited about airplanes and fear of flying.
yeah, I got, well, probably tonight, because I've got my mom is in the hospital. She's doing great. It's not to worry anything, you know, but anyway, so she's in there. And then I had a good friend come to stay with me, and this friend ended up in the hospital. So I got 2 for 1. I should get a discount. So anyway, so I'm headed over there to check on everybody in just a minute. So
And
anyway,
Stephanie
thanks last week for being on our guest last week. I really appreciate it.
So Stephanie just asked us to repeat the name of the book, and I'll do you one better, Stephanie. I'll also put the link to the book on Amazon in the description as soon as we're off the air here. But the book is called How to Overcome Fear of Flying by Captain Ron Nielsen, and it's available both as a paperback and as a Kindle as well. So, and yeah, check it out. Lots of great reviews already, and we're certainly.
One of the things that Maggie put in her review that really she really liked is with the Kindle. And this is what I like about Kindles. We've got a lot of interactive links in there. So if you're reading it on a Kindle and there's a link to take you to get more information stuff, bingo, you just do that, including our survey, which is still going out there, our fear of flying survey, and that's growing in numbers. But again, we'll put all that stuff in the show notes, and I think that's it for this week, Peter.
Yeah.
Okay.
So join us on Sunday. If you live in Phoenix, join us on Saturday for the free live class at Phoenix Sky Harbor Airport. And just go on the website, register for both events, really.
Yeah.
And we'd love to see you.
So get out of your chair and into the air with Fearless Flight. Okay, we'll see you. Thanks, Dieter, and we'll see all of you next week for another episode of Fearless Flight Live. Have a good week.